young people, once upon a time we used to have what were called radio stations. Now you would listen to these radio stations so you could hear your favorite music, your favorite songs. Sometimes you'd go a whole day, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 before you would hear your favorite song. Now if you had enough money, you could go buy the 45, the album, later the CD. But most of us got by listening on the radio. And then we'd record the songs or the music on a cassette tape. Now some radio stations would have a request line. So you could call in and say, and you know I'm kidding around, and some still do, but this is going away. You guys know this. And you call into the request line and say, hey, can you play such and such song for me? And when the DJ did, that's what the dude was called, you were super stoked, super happy. Hey, just played my song. That's awesome. Nowadays we have Spotify, streaming music, iPhones. You can get whatever music you want, whenever you want. Heck, you're on YouTube. It's a great time to live. The reason I intro with this somewhat funny example is because I would hear guys call the radio station. They'd say something like, oh, just play anything by Journey. It's all good. Even back then I'd go, it's not all good by Journey. It's not all good. I mean, they have some great songs, but there's some other songs I don't want to listen to. And the guy just carte blanche it, it's all good. Sometimes viewers here in YouTube and people on the internet will do the same thing. They'll say, hey, a gun, and that's what we're talking about, by one manufacturer, everything they make is all good or it's all bad. There's no in between. Welcome to the tabletop review, finally, of the CMMG Mutant in the Nutnfancy project.
You just drop the mag.
So you might be wondering, is it all bad? Is it all good? What is it? Well, to be honest in the review, I have to start out with track record. And it's not good. It's not good. Going back to the radio request example though, I think a lot of the things that CMMG makes, from my own experience, are excellent. They're really good. Their 22 conversion kits for ARs are superb. I think they make a lot of great ARs. CMMG is a great company. How about the Mutant, Nutnfancy? Before I answer that question, I'll tell you this. I really kind of like my timeline for reviewing on some of these guns. For instance, I'm definitely not the first one to review the Mutant. There's all types of reviews out there, both on blogs, there's tons here on YouTube. I'm late to the table with it, but sometimes that's good because I have fun watching the aftermath of a review, which is totally honest. I just bring the data I revealed in testing to the table, do a tabletop review. And sometimes it's fun to sit back and watch the reactions of what happens. Sometimes people go modify their reviews, do new reviews, and say, hey, you know, this is what I really meant to say. But all I do is stick to the truth because that stands the test of time. It stands changes in, you know, corporate politics, whatever. That's all I know how to do. The Mutant did not do well in testing. That's the bottom line. It did actually pretty horribly. To the point that the crew members and I, we just kind of looked at ourselves, and if you've been watching the B channel, I posted a mini video up there. I'll probably throw some more up there. At the top, by the way, is a sub button for me, for the B channel. Officially, the name of that B channel is the Nutnfancy Project. Right now, it's just wearing the name Lieutenant Colonel Nutnfancy. Sub to that, watch them. Those are less edited videos, kind of more raw data that you can see where I glean all this info from. And we watched how many stoppages the gun had and how many light primer strikes it had, and we were flummoxed. I don't know, man. This is like the worst summer ever for, I don't know, gun reliability. The stuff that we're shooting, it's not good. And honestly, out in the desert, it's not fun. Generally, because I have drills planned, there's things I want to do with the gun, certain footage I would like to have to bring to tabletop, like we're seeing here. And by the way, I'm going to roll the footage as it happens. You're going to see the problems that it was happening. I'm not editing that out. We just throw our hands up. Okay, so a couple things will happen. I've been on the internet working for a long time. I know it well. I know what guys will say. One, they'll blame me. They'll think there's some secret agenda to make the Mutant fail. I assure you there is not. We would have liked nothing better to have it succeed, and succeed, you know, with flying colors. Accurate, reliable. It's definitely lightweight. I mean, I wrote it right here, 7 pounds 3 ounces. That's pretty excellent for a 7.6239 chambered AR variant. Really good. We'd love to have it just perform, you know, all gold stars, 5 stars. It just didn't happen. So guys will sometimes confuse the review process with, let me give you another example, with the Mythbuster process. Did you ever watch Mythbusters? It's off the air now, but it, you know, once in a while I watch it and I really enjoyed it. You know, Jamie Heineman and crew, they bust myths. And almost always they would come and they would bust a myth and they say, well, this and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. They say, yeah, the myth is busted, but what level do we have to take it to make the myth true? Maybe it's more explosives, maybe it's more outlandish design, and they do that for viewer interest and just entertainment factor and just for fun. And that's what made the show interesting. Some guys will do that here. They'll say, well, it's not reliable, but you should do the following. You should have, and let me see, what are some of the things they'll say? You should have cut and modified your magazines. You should have put in a special firing pin. You should have put in a new trigger. You should have enlarged the gas hole. You should have milled out the feed ramp, polished the feed ramp, changed the buffered spring, changed the buffer tube, and all this other, I think, stupid stuff for an out-of-the-box gun at this price level. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. I'll tell you what I did do, and this is going above and beyond because CMMG was super cool. I think they're a great company, specifically a few people I know there that are super cool. Maybe they move on to different companies, but for right now, snapshot in time, CMMG's cool. And so I was like, and I generally don't do this now. If a gun, you know, doesn't do well, I don't have time, money, and expense to just send the gun back, and I didn't. But I contacted them. I said, hey, this gun is not running right. It's not going to be a super great review. Heads up to you as a courtesy. And so they sent me a second upper. So I did do that. In fact, wearing on the gun's wearing right now the replacement upper. This is the original right here. So the problems we had with this were failing to eject, double feeds, a lot of light primer strikes with this one, and well, you'll see the footage. You can make up your own mind. And so when I got the new upper, I'm like, awesome. Maybe, you know, maybe there's something with this. And no, I didn't take the upper apart. I'm not going to Mythbuster it and go to these lengths of basically gunsmithing their product for them. I'm not going to do that. It's not my job to do it. It's to evaluate it as it comes. I do that well. I didn't take the gas block off. I didn't check the gas port size. You know, I didn't take the bolt apart. I didn't put a new firing pin in. I didn't replace the trigger. It's not my job, man. It's my job is just to test it as it comes out of box. So this is the replacement upper on the CMMG, dudes. Right there, bro. How'd it do? Not great. I'm sad to say, not great. I went to the range and it seemed like it did great at the range. So I put the new upper on. I'll show you the paper here because there are some really good things about the Mutant that I'm going to cover. Shot it and it was more accurate than the other upper. I was very stoked on that, and I had no stoppages at the range. You know where this is going, right? I don't know why it's this way, but it is. So what do? Well, we take it out in the desert, and the curse of the desert is things generally don't work out there. If there's going to be a problem, it's going to happen in the desert, dude. And so Jardine and I go out. We shoot with it. We're thinking, this is going to be great. And I told him, I was like, I came back from the range. It was 100% at the range. We got this drill hand, you know, working up. And here we go. Boom. Stoppage, stoppage, stoppage.
I might if it's shot.
I lubed it up even before I went to the range. Oh, and that's another thing, guys. Well, you need to use special lubes with it. You need to use special magazines. You should only use ACS magazines with this. No, bullshit. It should run on any mag. Should run on any ammunition if it is to get a positive review from me. I don't care what the rest of the internet's doing. I don't care what other, you know, clone channels are doing. I don't care. Hey, but they loved it. I don't care. That's not my data. My data is my data. My philosophy is my philosophy, and it stands the test of time. So the gun this is going against, and I'm going to throw it on the table right now, coming out of actual current Nutnfancy Clan self-defensive purposes is the SGL-21 Russian-produced stamped receiver Sega rifle, once upon a time imported by Arsenal, modified by myself. MOE, Zukov, Bulgarian Circle 10, TRS 25. Look up the video, I talk about all the mods. This is what this gun is being compared to in my mind. I'm not really comparing it against other 7.62 39 AR rifles. I will mention those in competitive options. I think there might be some good ones out there. I'm really learning about this caliber in an AR format. From this, I'm thinking it's a much more complicated formula to get right than would first appear. Yeah, it's always that way. You think, well, let's just chamber it in a new caliber. We'll be fine. There's a lot to that. I mean, the Stoner design is designed for what it's designed for, and it works well. Granted, that was a 7.62 but later on adapted to 5.56. But over time, we're talking decades of improvement. It has been perfected. It could be very well the same with the CMMG Mutant. So maybe 2 years down the road, we find that all the problems I'm talking about here are gone. Which also drives to the point, what's the purpose of just an always positive review? If you can't say the Emperor has no clothes, which a lot of blogs do, most of the channels do here on YouTube, then you really don't progress at all. You are just doing a rave review so you gain favor with the audience, I guess. Unless you call it like it is, which I do here, you know, it's not going to work. And I'm happy to say that data that I provided here in the project has been applied to guns to make them better. One that comes to mind, and this is not just me, I mean there's other voices besides myself, the Ruger LC9S. That is a much better gun than it used to be. Enough said. But I'm comparing this against an AK variant rifle. So here's the question. What is the most important quality, and we're talking about home defense, point defense here, of a defensive weapon? What's the most important quality? Is it weight? Is it size? Is it ergonomics? Is it accuracy? No, it's reliability. If you said reliability, amen, brother. That's it. And that's why this is in first line defense. Other than I love 7.62 39, it has obstacle defeating capability, glass penetrating capability, normal capacity magazine. I love it. Okay? That has to be reliable. So if this gun doesn't approach, not just approach, but equal this in reliability, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not interested. I'll take the different ergonomics of an unmodified AK variant rifle. The bad trigger, the safety, which is unergonomic, the bad stock. Many of these I've already changed on this gun, so this isn't the best example, but I'm talking a rack grade like a Wasser 10. The thinner barrel, the bad furniture, the bad sights, but it's reliable. It shoots a big chunk of metal, 7.62 39. That's huge, man. I'll take all of that. And I've adapted to AK ergos long ago. I don't mind them at all. I think they're cool. Shoot fast with them, shoot accurate with them. Cool. Do I prefer an AR format? Yeah, I do. Doesn't mean I can't flex to this, you know. So from what we're seeing, we're talking track record and reliability. This is nowhere near a good AK variant rifle. In fact, I would say most AK variant rifles. Now, maybe someone too said, well, what ammunition did you use? What magazines did you use? No excuses allowed, because this doesn't have excuses. Okay, so, oh, and that did happen, by the way. So we had light primer strikes with a wide, I wouldn't say a wide, but 3 different types of ammo, which is all I'm ever going to do anyhow when I go on an outing. Light primer strike on brass, light primer strike on steel. And we looked at the primers, you know, were they inset a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. Throw them in an AK, boom, 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 boom. AK happened to be a RAS 47 by Century Arms. Boom, boom, boom. Tried the magazine in the RAS 47. Boom, 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 boom. You know, just all day long reliable. So I'm sorry, I don't accept excuses. And I really want to emphasize I went the extra mile in getting another upper. So look at how many things variables that eliminated. See you later, AK. Actually, not really. And this one's hot, by the way. It's serving proudly right now in the family. But I was going to say, look at all the variables we eliminated by a different upper. So gas port sizing, gas block alignment. Got a whole different bolt, and this straight from the factory, knowing that this gun was having issues. They actually sent another trigger, but I didn't have the time to install it. I just don't. Interestingly, when I put on the new upper, the light primer strikes did go away, shooting basically the same ammunition. So go figure. We shot brass, we shot steel, so we had no light primer strikes with this, but we did have a failure to fully eject. Was it undergassed? It kind of seemed that way. You could say it is a gas port sizing issue. I've been seeing that a lot on a lot of different DI guns, even from top makers. It just baffles my mind. You know, there's guys that will say with an AK chambered AR upper that you have to drill it out to at least, what is it, 0.110. Some are even go to 0.125 to get enough gas flow for that 7.6239. But again, I'm not Mythbusters. I'm not doing that. And the gun's on loan, so I can't do it. Yeah, it's not good. You know, is it the trigger? I don't think so at all. In the field, I kind of got to the point where I said, watching what the gun was doing, either as an undergassed issue or a buffer spring buffer issue. Now, can all of this be fixed eventually? So you mess around with it. Yeah, I made that point already about twice with the Mythbusters thing. We can swap components, we can troubleshoot, and we can probably get it reliable. But let's talk philosophy of use. Do you want a project gun that costs as much as a CMMG Mutant? I mean, if I'm going to project to that level, why don't I just use, you know, a kit? I'll get a kit and put it together. To me, the attraction of going with a name brand like CMMG is to have something that works out of box and I don't have to dick with it. It's time, and then it's warranty. Or I should say warranted. And again, if you're having problems with your Mutant, you can send it back to CMMG as a whole gun, which I recommend, and have them go through it. I'm sure when it comes back to you, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I bet you it's going to be 100% reliable. And what are they going to do to it? I don't know. It's kind of like the whole testing and review process here in TMP, super quick. It kind of reminds me of pilot training. We'd have kids come through U.S. Air Force undergraduate pilot training that could not fly in the time that was allotted to teach them to fly. If we had double the flights, we had double the timeline, and we had special, you know, instruction, one-on-one instruction, we probably could have got these guys through to become pilots in the United States Air Force. But you only have this much money, this much time for training. Either you perform in that allotment or you're gone. And a lot were gone. It's kind of like this. I mean, I only have so much time to review a gun. And actually, and honestly, interest level. You know, this isn't the CMMG Mutant channel. I got a lot of projects. Light primer strikes were the big thing. The big takeaway. Double feeds, failure to extract. I mean, just weird stuff. We had one casing flip back, and it was just kind of a hard jam. What I didn't see is that it would jam so hard in the chamber we had to use a rod to knock it out. That did not happen. I want to emphasize also at this time we used a variety of magazines like this, Tapco, Bulgarian Circle 10, which do fit snug in the Billet Receiver. And I hope I said Tapco, and then the Magpuls. So I thought we had a fair representation. But let me go back to what I said. I mean, it's going against the AK. The AK is not, a good AK is not magazine sensitive. It's not ammunition sensitive. So unless this platform rises to that, count me out. Not interested. So that's that, man. The reliability was very, very disappointing. Sorry, CMMG. I tried, man. I gave you extra time. I really did. We did spend a whole extra day on it. And I wasn't enthused. I was like, I don't want to go out there again. Well, we got another upper. Let's try it. Lo and behold, we're disappointed again. Dang it. Dang it. Disappointing. Now, that's not to say there aren't great Mutants out there. I'm sure there are. I did click around on the internet. I was watching what people were saying, and almost all of them are glowing reviews. Oh my gosh, this is the coolest gun. It's accurate. It's reliable. I don't recall actually of any negative reviews on it. Now, is that actually how it happened? I don't know. But that is more or less what people are saying. I didn't go to the forums. If you go to the forums, you're probably going to dig deeper into the issue, and you'd probably see, well, it's not all that. It's very specific with this ammunition, this magazine. I'm just guessing that those discussions are out there. let's pretend it's 100%, it works great. Would you choose this, or why would you choose this over a 5.56 AR? Well, number one, and probably the most important, is caliber. But it's a great caliber, and it's affordable. It hits hard. I've always called it a 300-yard caliber. I have a long-range shooting video out there. It's been out there for about a month. The cartridge just drops significantly past 300 meters or so. But inside of that, specifically inside of 2, it's a great cartridge. Penetrates glass. It hits hard, man, and it's affordable. You can shoot it. It's less than 223 in a lot of instances. That's why. Plus, you go with AR ergonomics, which are all good. I told you that at the outset. I love AR ergonomics. I can put on the grip I want, the buttstock I want, which incidentally, on the CMMG, at least this version, are pretty excellent. So you got MOE mag pull. You got a CTR in this version. You've got a proprietary handguard, which is fine. It's not fat. It's actually pretty decent. Key mod variety. You got a really excellent trigger in this one, which we'll pull here in a second. That's why I would go with this. I have a long grasping surface up here if you want to do a forward hold. I mean, look at the AK. You don't have that in it unless you go with a longer mag pull handguard, which a lot of guys do, but adds more weight. This fully loaded is 9 pounds 11 ounces. What you're looking at right there. That's stout. But that's not the most important quality of a home defense gun. It's reliable. It's funny that the Russian AK-12 is moving towards ergonomics like these. It has more rail space on it. It's adaptable, has a telescoping stock, rear mounted sight with a longer sight radius, ambi thumb safety. It looks like a SCAR, has a trigger finger mag release on it, the new AK. Thanks, AK-12. So I wonder where AK purists are now. They're like, whoa, it's kind of morphing towards an AR-15. That's because it's excellent. You know, the AR-15 ergos. So philosophy of use is I get the ergonomics, the adaptability of the platform. You know, self-defense, WROL, recreational, all the other POUs play. That's all I'm going to say on that. I talked about the furniture already. We're talking SAWC design ergos on the CMMG Mutant. I think they're excellent as they come. Really excellent. Now the CTR is no longer my favorite one. I like the Battle Link MFTs. I just love those. Those are super light. They're not as strong as this one, but they're light, and I like lightweight. You know that. I'm going to cover this here because this is an ergonomic concern, which does concern me, and this isn't related to reliability at all. This does not have last shot hold open. It does not have a bolt hold open either. Of course, that has to do with the magazine type, which is a standard AK mag. The beauty of the Mutant is it doesn't take proprietary magazines. Thumbs up. I won't say right now maybe it should, because I just don't know. I don't have enough data to say that. I like that it takes standard AK mags. But along with that, no bolt hold open, no last shot hold open either. That's basically the same, I think, as a Rock River LAR 47. And most other AR uppers chambered in this. That's not news. I will say this, and this applies not just to Mutant, but all of them, as I don't really dig it. I don't like that for instance, when the stoppage happens, I don't have a way to lock this bolt open. That was very annoying. I don't like always having to come back here and charge either. You know, in an AR platform, a true AR platform, we're just doing that with the initial round, and that's if you didn't have the bolt hold open going on. Here you're using a lot more. So I have an interference with a scope. Granted, I have a scope on this. You could run irons. Incidentally, it does not come with BUIS, at least in this version. So you're just using a charging handle a lot, and more than I want. I think it's much more ergonomic to use the AK op handle. I love that. It's offside, it's quick, it reciprocates. I don't care. It's always there. That's just the way I feel. Until they incorporate a last shot hold open, true AR style stuff, bolt hold open, I'm probably not interested in the platform. That's me. Now, granted, guys who own the Mutant will come on and say, well, I don't have a problem with it. It's great. You adapt to it very readily. I know. I get it. We adapt to what we have. We get used to it. It's just kind of annoying. And here's your charging handle. It's not an extended variety. I think it is proprietary on this one. could be wrong on that. So you could swap it out, I think. For sure, I'm not going to crack it open, but for sure the bolt is proprietary, obviously. They did mill some very thick lugs. CMMG did. I think it's a pretty strong bolt. I think the quality levels, I hate to use a term, but everyone understands it, are like mill spec. Very nice. I don't doubt the durability of it all. There's the billet receiver. You can see the cross pin where your steel portion of your AK magazine will hook onto. That's good, so it's not against aluminum. Big, huge paddle release on the magazine. Oh, that's excellent. We really love that. Just really loved it. The trigger in this version is super excellent. I will pull it on camera just to prove it. And I don't know offhand what trigger this is, by the way. Look at that, 4.9. Beautiful trigger. Now the light primer strikes, again, we go back to the Mythbusters saying, hey, you should have put in a stronger hammer spring. You should have put in a .07 longer firing pin. Granted, we can turn into a project gun, all that could have been done. Maybe in later days, not now, not interested. There is some movement between the upper and the lower, I noticed, right here. I didn't put an AccuWedge in it. I should have. I didn't see the movement right here. I didn't see it affecting the accuracy though, that much. I was pretty happy with the second upper's accuracy. I'll show you the targets here in a minute. Dust port cover, pretty standard AR stuff. Case deflector, done. I love the MOE grip, wouldn't change any of that. Room in the trigger guard, decent. I wouldn't say it's a winner trigger guard by any means. Here's your hand guard. You can see where it locks on. Didn't have any rotational problems on it. I have heard of guys that had a loose one, but we had no problems with that. How about the barrel? It is somewhat slender for a 30 caliber projectile. You can kind of see under there. Well, you can see right here. It looks about like the SGL-21, the Ishvesh produced AK variant rifle. That's not a bad thing, but I think it's a way to keep the gun weight down, as I've talked about before. That's an SV dual chamber muzzle brake. It worked good. It's loud on the side, as you can imagine. We thought it swung well. It felt good in the drills when it was working. Really, we're disappointed. I mean, we're just like, God, this gun is so excellent. If it was, even the charging handle stuff, if I might be able to put that in the back burner for myself if it just ran everything. 100%. It's heavy duty. I mean, the bolt carrier alone is 17 ounces. Like I said, thicker lugs than a regular AR-762 upper. Direct gas impingement, as I talked about before. I'll leave it at that. Firepower is standard AK, dudes. So whatever magazine, I shouldn't say whatever, but most magazines should work in the Mutant. And I don't think it was a magazine issue that we saw, because we tried different things and it kind of went all that way. Didn't try a drum magazine, incidentally. Field strip, not doing it. Standard ARs, I was going to say. Accessories. I don't think a gun like this should need any accessories. I don't. But if I got some, I would find magazines that I liked. Here we go again with, well, it takes specific magazines. Take your pick on whatever it is. Oh, you need to do ASC mags. That's all it runs with.
Another jam?
It should run every magazine. The trigger's perfect. I'd probably, I might run the CTR for a while. I wouldn't change that. I really wouldn't change this either. I wouldn't. Muzzle device, maybe. That's all I'm going to say on that. How about accuracy? Reliability and accuracy are the two things that excite me about any weapon system I bring to the table. So if it's super reliable, it's super accurate, even if it has some ergonomic hangups, I'm probably going to do a really positive review on it. So this is in the desert. This is with Jardine and myself. This is Wolf, solid points. We did notice with that first upper, and that's this one right here, the one that was light primer striking, that it had a weird tendency to just fire the first round out into La La Land. So here's our first shot, and the rest grouped. Red Army Brass, I gotta go quick. Brown Bear, here's your first shot. I mean, if it wasn't for this, they would have been really grouped tight. Look at Brown Bear there, excellent. Here's Wolf, excellent. That is beating, by the way, most AKs, and I will show you a representative target of that. Hornady SST, Metac, first round flyer on that group. First round flyer, that's a really good group there. This is out the first upper. There's Hornady SST. Golden Tiger, not impressive. Tula, okay. But see, this is weird. I mean, all these are good trigger pulls, good stability. Granted, it's in the desert, off a polymer table, but we're getting good stability. Great group from Tula, great, and then not so great. What happened? Oh, Golden Tiger on that upper didn't like it at all. Here's me going to the range off concrete, and this is with this this upper. This one I thought shot better. So this is Russian white box ammo. There's Hornady SST shooting into an inch out of the Mutant. So that's really good. That group there blows away most AKs. I mean, it's not even close. That's good, really good. All Russian white box. Here's some Wolf, and these aren't so great. I mean, this is more standard AK right here. I will call the gun, and I was going to show you an AK target. I'll just roll it in right here. So here's a photo of standard AK accuracy. It's not phenomenal, you know, 2 MOA, 3 MOA on most groups. Occasionally I'll get 1.5 MOA with ammo that it likes, good stability. I think the Mutant accuracy, I would classify it as not outstanding, but good to excellent overall. I mean, I think it's a more accurate platform. That should not be surprising. It's a free floated barrel, so we have less impinging on the barrel harmonics. A DI system, it has less moving parts. We would expect it to be more accurate, so that's good. It's just not quite reliable. Value options. Well, I'm going to go super quick. Some I've already mentioned, like the Rock River Arms LAR 47. I don't have experience at this point to it. I get the vibe it's not selling that great. I just get that vibe. I could be totally wrong. MGI Hydra, don't even know about it, just heard the name. Wyndham M4A3. How about a Ruger Mini 30? I bet you don't have to worry about reliability on that. Is it going to be super accurate? Not from the ones I've shot. They're not. The Ruger Mini 30. But man, they're all day long reliable. If you don't want to go with an AK platform, it's an option. Olympic Arms makes a couple 7.62 39s, I think, like the K30. Let's see, Black Rifle Arms, Palmetto Armory, just to name a couple. If that's what you want. If that's what you want. Where do I stand overall then on the Mutant? Like I said, sometimes you just have teething problems when a new gun or a new design is brought to market. I will be honest and say that I'm disappointed. This gun has been out for a couple years, especially with that second upper. It should be running. This is not a new gun. But unless an honest feedback is given, maybe there's just things that need to be worked out. Is it a buffer spring combination, you know, gas port hole diameter in the barrel? I would go larger rather than smaller, especially with that big cartridge. Maybe they get worked out, and maybe down the road I do an updated mini review. I'm not going to do a full-on tabletop review because this is it. I mean, the ergonomics are excellent. Mostly I talked about this issue right here. Lots of rail space. It's the chambering. I love the 7.62 39. But what is the most important quality of a self-defense gun? That's where I stand. That's where I stand. If it's not reliable, out of box, even when after exchanging some parts from the manufacturer, it's like, ugh, I got to slam the brakes on. Nutnfancy.
Super quick. We'll make this a short video. I'm going to edit the heck out of it.
I'm going to say really disappointed. The reliability is terrible. The reliability is terrible. You can't spend this kind of money on a firearm and have 3 or 4 fails per magazine. You can't do it.
How many different loads were we shooting?
4 or 5.
How many different magazines?
Oh, Tapco, Magpul, Bulgarian. We shot 3 different kind of mags. Yeah. So pretty disappointing.
All right, so we'll do a run with the RAS 47, just see how it works.
Okay.
Who knows, maybe something weird will happen and it will jam. My prediction says it will not. With all the magazines and all the rounds.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say that AK runs 100%.
And by the way, I've got no dog in the hunt here at all. I'm not in with either company. They'll both end up hating me, so it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah. Final word, disappointment. That's it, disappointing.
Well said. It was an awful run for reliability.
Yep.
Horrible.
Yep, terrible.